Welcome to Mona's Kitchen. It's Monday. How are you? For those of you who are in the Northeast, I hope you're braving the storm today. Boy, those winds were high, huh? I'm so glad we have electricity so I could share a great new recipe with you. Yes, it was interesting. I was trying to figure out what to make today because it's Monday and you know, it's always meatless Monday. And I don't really have a lot of groceries in the house. I have to go shopping in the next couple of days. But I had 2 cans of garbanzo beans. And I said, let's see what I can do with that. And then I remembered in my new cookbook, Satisfy, I was in the process almost finishing up this recipe for air fryer falafel. And I figured, boy, that put a big smile on my face because I remember when I was in Israel back in November, how much I love falafel. And if I was thinking, how could we make it healthier? And yes, by using an air fryer, it's like the best appliance to use because you get that crunchy on the outside and the soft on the inside, and you use minimal oil. So tonight, what I want to do is show you a really easy makeshift way to make air fryer falafel. The main ingredients are chickpeas, and you can do it one or two ways. One way is to go easy and use canned chickpeas, which is what I had in the house. Or you can use dried chickpeas, and there's a whole process, which I'll put in my website, on how you can basically rehydrate chickpeas. Is by adding water and a little bit of baking soda. I actually learned that in Israel. So it does make and will make the falafel taste a little bit creamier and a little bit better. But I just used a makeshift can today, and they're awesome. And I also made a tahini sauce to kind of go with it. So I'm excited to show you how to do that. Okay, so the first thing you need is a food processor. And what we're going to do is add first is the main ingredient, which are the chickpeas. The recipe is actually on my website now. Everybody's invited to come, monadolgov.com, under recipes. It's under falafel. Uses chickpeas. I'm doing a half recipe because I made the other half already so that I can show you. So this is a half a can of chickpeas that I'm going to add into my food processor. Normally you would put in the whole can. The other big ingredient with falafel, with chickpeas, is to begin that whole Middle Eastern delicious taste. The other big ingredient for falafel is fresh parsley. So I chopped up, and it was great because I made chicken soup last week, so I had all this leftover parsley I was so excited about. So I put some parsley in with my chickpeas, just like that. The other ingredient I'm going to add is some olive oil. So this is about 1.5 teaspoons of olive oil. Again, it's a half recipe. Okay, so I have some olive oil in here and some garlic. As I mentioned, I used my frozen cubes of garlic. They're by a company called Dolgov. You could either also mince garlic as well. So in a whole batch, you put about a tablespoon of garlic. I'm using half of that right now. So I'm going to put in some garlic. I'm using my cubes. 1 cube is 1 teaspoon, so it's 1.5 cloves. A little bit of fresh onion, yum. And a little bit of, I'm using some brown rice flour in here because this is a vegan, gluten-free recipe. And then the last ingredient I'm going to put in is some lemon juice. So all these great, delicious ingredients. So far I've had for those who just came on board, I have my chickpeas, I have my parsley, I have my onion, I have my olive oil, and now comes the good stuff. I'm going to add the dried Israeli spices. So I'm going to add some cumin. Cumin is a must-have for falafel. So I'm putting in about a teaspoon of cumin. I love cumin. It's so good. Yum. Put a little more too. And then the other thing that calls in the recipe is coriander. I don't have coriander, but what I do have, as I mentioned, I was in Israel a few months ago, so I do have a little special recipe I got from a spice shop of za'atar, which has coriander in it, and so I'm just going to add a little bit in there. So putting in these Middle Eastern spices just makes it taste so good. Yum. Okay. And that's it, guys. So then you're going to close this up. Put it on your food processor, and I'm going to give it a whirl. It's probably going to take about 25 or 30 pulses. I apologize in advance for the noise, but I want to say hi for those of you who are on board. Let me see. Hey, Chris, how are you? And hey, Carol, how are you doing? I'm glad you liked that egg roll in a bowl yesterday. Yum. Okay, so now we're going to go and we're going to process, but before we're going to do that, I'm going to preheat my air fryer. And typically when you use an air fryer, it's always really good to preheat it in advance, so when you put your falafel balls inside, the cooking can begin. Just like you would typically do with a regular oven or outdoor grill as well. So I'm going to go preheat my air fryer to about 390 degrees. And typically you would preheat it for about 3 or 4 minutes. I just put the timer on a little past that, so to make sure it'll be really hot after we make these balls. Okay, so plug your ears, everybody. We're gonna pulse, pulse, pulse. And after about a dozen pulses, I kind of grab a spoon, and I kind of, push it down, and I kind of look at where I'm at. You want it kind of like a crumbly, take a peek. Thanks to my technical manager here, my husband. It's crumbly, but it's not pasty. You want a little bit pasty. So I'm gonna probably give it another 12 to 15 whirls, and then we'll be ready to go and make it into our little falafel balls. How about that? Okay, ready guys? Let's go. That should do the trick. I'm just going to check one more time. Yeah. And if you feel like it's a little bit dry, feel free just to add a little trickle of oil. I think I might just do that, just a little bit. Not like heavy, just like a little bit of oil. Just a little drizzle, just like that. I'm going to give it about 6 or 7 more whirls and we'll be ready to go. It's perfect. Okay, let's go. So the next step that we're going to do, very important if you have a food processor, is you're going to take the blade out so you don't get hurt. So I'm just going to put that in the sink, and I'm going to wet my hands too, because I don't know, when you make meatballs or you make any type of protein balls, I like having my hands a little bit of wet because it helps shape the balls better. So then what I'm going to do is basically make some little falafel balls, and they're going to look like this. Almost look like little mini matzo balls too. And this will make a half a batch. Is going to make probably around 6 to 8. So I'm going to make my little balls right now. And the noise, for those of you who just came on board, the noise in the background is my air fryer that's preheating at 390 degrees, so that when I'm done making these yummy falafel balls, we can just throw them in. And what you do after that is the falafel balls cook for about 12 minutes. And what you do is every 4 minutes you check on it. And what you want to do when you check on it for 4 minutes, you just don't look at it. What you do is you basically take a spoon and you just kind of flip them over, so that way they get nice brown and toasty. And the air fryer works really great because it's a little convection oven and the heat is really concentrated, and that's why you can really get that crunchiness on the outside and the softness on the inside. Okay, we're almost done. How many do I have here? I'm going to make 6 today. You get the gist, right? We're just making these little balls, shaping them up. Lots of parsley, which is awesome. And if you like cilantro, you can do part cilantro, part parsley as well. I like using fresh parsley. All right, I'm just going to rinse my hands real quick. All right. It's been about 3 minutes since that air fryer's been preheating. So what I'm going to do now is bring over, so this is what the balls look like. Okay, this is what the balls look like. So I'm going to bring over, oh, Dick, you can stay here. I'm going to bring over my little drawer of the air fryer so I can show you. And I'm just going to easily just put the balls quickly, because don't want the heat to escape too much, inside the air fryer. Perfect, just like that. And then before I'm going to cook them up, I'm just going to spray a little bit of olive oil on top, so that way they'll get that little bit of crunch, just like that. Perfect. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like before it goes in. I'm putting it back in, and I'm going to set it for 4 minutes. But I'm also going to set this too so I can hear it as well. Timer. Oh. We do electronics. All right, set for 4 minutes. Okay, perfect. Set for 4 minutes. Okay, so the falafel balls are being cooked. So the next thing I'm going to do is make my tahini sauce. So I love tahini sauce, and actually I want to thank my son Scotty for helping me create this recipe, because he's a big hummus guy, and he spent a long time in Jordan. He spent a semester in Jordan and abroad, and he kind of played around with different flavors and tastes. So it's his inspiration that gave me the recipe for this tahini sauce. So yay, Scott. I just want to say hi. Hi, Nancy. How are you? Hi, Michelle. I'm glad you came on board. And hey, Carol. Oh, Carol made a chicken marsala tonight. It was delicious. Yay. Hey, Margie. How are you? Good. Good to hear from everybody. Yay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with some tahini paste. You can get this. I bought mine at Trader Joe's. It's an organic tahini. It also can be found in the natural food section of the store. Sometimes it's in the international section of the store. So the recipe calls for, I believe, the full recipe calls for 2 tablespoons rather of the tahini paste. I'm just going to add 1 because I'm doing a half a recipe, remember. The other half I'm going to show you. So 1 tablespoon of the tahini paste. And then I'm going to add, believe it or not, I want to tahini paste is very, very thick. And so what I want to do is kind of thin it out a little bit. So instead of adding extra oil, because, you know, I want to be mindful of calories and mindful of fat, I put in a little bit, you're going to laugh, but it works. I put in a little bit of unsweetened almond milk. And it works, and it's really a nice flavor to it. So I'm going to add a little bit of that. Any nut milk will do. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of lemon, a squeeze of lemon, some garlic powder. I'm going to eye it because I like a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, a little bit of oregano. I'm going to add in more of my cumin because I love the cumin flavor. It's nice on this sauce. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add just a teeny bit of sweet, like a half a teaspoon. So you can use honey, or I have this in the refrigerator for when my son was home last. It's a little bit of a fig butter. So you can add anything that's like kind of thick sweet. So a little bit of honey, a little bit of agave, a little bit of fig butter, or in Israel they actually use date syrup. You can use a little bit of that, just a little bit. Not even a half a teaspoon. I'm just gonna put a little bit in, like that much. I'm gonna throw it in there, and then just mix it together. Oh, that's the first round of my falafel. Let's take a peek at it. I want to show you what it looks like in the middle of cooking. So this is what it looks like now in the middle of cooking it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip them over. Remove my plate. I'm just going to flip them over, and you can probably see they're starting getting a brown. Usually it's the second round that they get brown, after the 8 minutes. I'll show you what it'll look like after 8 minutes. There we go. Just flip them over, flip them over. There we go. Perfect. All right, I'm going to put them back in for another 4 minutes. Okay, so what's going to happen, I'm going to put them in for another 4 minutes, do the same thing, and then another 4 minutes, and then they'll be done. So I have my sauce, which is so awesome, and it's a nice, kind of not as thick as peanut butter, but kind of like a nice thick sauce to put and drizzle over my falafel. And when you're done, after 12 minutes, this is what it looks like. Check it out. Is that delicious or what? So you get the crunchy on the outside, and I'm going to take a bite so you can see what it's like on the inside. It's really, 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 really good. So isn't that good? I just want to show you what the inside looks like. So you get nice and soft on the inside with the chickpeas and the parsley. And then the other thing that you can do, I've eaten this one.
Don't eat them all.
Yes, I will. Don't forget to dip. I want to taste my sauce. Just put a little dip on it. Very good. Oh wow, it's really good. So what can you do with that? You can serve it as an appetizer. I was going to make you this grandiose salad, but I didn't have any lettuce in the house, I'm sorry. But you can make it into a lettuce wrap, where you take a piece of romaine lettuce, put the falafel balls in with the sauce with some little tomatoes. It's really, really good. You can make a big salad, or you can take a pita, stuff it in with some chopped cucumbers, chopped tomatoes, and the tahini. And all those suggestions are in my book. My new book coming out this summer, it's called Satisfy. If you're interested in pre-ordering it, which I hope you will, it's www.satisfycookbook.com. If you want a copy of the recipe, you can go on my new website, monadolgov.com. And I'm so excited that all of you came. And please, invite your friends to come join me. Invite your friends to come join me on every night at 7 o'clock, because this is what I do. I plan on not stopping through this whole pandemic. I just want to keep giving you these delicious, these fun, these easy recipes so that you're motivated, you're inspired, you're in a great mood, and you'll have planning and you'll have recipes to eat, healthy, delicious food, okay? So have a great night. Stay safe. I just want to say goodbye to whoever's on. Hey, Michelle. Yep, it is yummy. Hey, Margie. Bye. Hi, Lori. Bye, Lori. Thanks all for joining tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Take care. Bye.